I'm Kate. I'm an ultra runner, a running coach, and mother of two. Welcome to my channel, where I'll be talking all things about running, as well as and especially how to make running a part of the life of an ordinary person. Today's the first video, and I want to talk about how to start running and never quit. In other words, how to make running a part of your lifestyle or your habits. So you've decided to start running. The problem is that your brain is going to literally do everything to prevent you from building this new habit. The reason for that is that it's much easier and much more energy efficient for the brain to send signals down the existing neural pathways rather than building new neural connections. Okay, just imagine you're in the car and you need to drive through a field. So there's no road on the field. It's pretty much bumpy. There are, I don't know, stones, pit holes. The surface is really uneven, lots of grass, maybe some plants growing on there. And your goal is, at the end of the field that you have to drive through. And you can't drive through the field. I mean, it's possible, but you will have to be much more vigilant. You will have to be much more careful with, where your wheels go. So you're going to be really slow and it's going to be hard. I don't think you're going to enjoy it. Then you come next day and you do the same thing again and you follow exactly the same path. Then on the third day, on the fourth day, etc., 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 you continue doing that thing. At some point, you'll realize that it's getting really easy to drive from that point on the field to the other point to your goal. The reason is that now there is, sort of a road has formed. Because when we do something consistently every day, or at least on a regular basis, new neural connection gets formed, and then it's going to be energy efficient. Brain's going to need much less energy to actually send the signal down that newly built neural pathway. So this applies to running. So basically, what you need to do to start running is to actually start running consistently. So the main thing is to set a goal for yourself to do running every day, every other day, or once in 3 days, but it has to be on a regular basis. So there seems to be a kind of a vicious circle here. To build a habit to run consistently, you have to run consistently. That doesn't seem to help much, does it? Well, it's a good thing to remember that actually, when you run more and more and more, it's going to be getting easier, easier and easier. For instance, if you decide that you want to run after you come back from work, and you usually come back from work, lie down on a sofa, switch on Netflix and get yourself some snacks, of course, it's going to be quite hard to get yourself out into the street, put your running shoes on, put your running gear on. Maybe it's raining outside, maybe you're tired, maybe you're not in a good mood. But then once you start doing it regularly, it's going to be getting easier. But at first, it can feel hard. Well, therefore, there are kind of motivational strategies that you can actually use at first. So basically, what I find, let's say, most effective is building a plan for at least a week or 2 weeks or a month. Maybe a month is even better. And then you make one decision that you'll be running, let's say, every other day during that month. Maybe you can have a plan of some particular workouts that you're going to be doing, or maybe you can build a schedule for yourself, like you run 20 minutes on the first day and 30 minutes afterwards, something like that. The trick is that when you actually decide once for at least a week or maybe some other time frame, you don't really have to waste that energy again to make up your mind every time. So you come back from work and then you're kind of hesitant. Am I going to run today? Oh, I don't feel like I want to run today. So that's when you have this kind of, you get those negotiations inside of your head going on. But then when you have actually decided on Monday that you'll do, let's say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on that week, you just kind of don't have to waste any more time on that. You just know that that's your plan, you're following it. I know it sounds quite odd because it's just in your head, but it actually works a lot. So that's one thing, and I find it the most effective trick. What other things you can do? Well, you can actually treat yourself after running. And I don't actually mean like getting yourself a muffin or a blueberry cake or whatever you want. You can actually treat yourself with something not food related. Like, let's say if you run consistently for a week, you can get yourself new running shorts. Well, that's a good thing. Or you just go and buy yourself something new to wear while you're running. And that's going to motivate you a bit more to run because you actually want to try a new thing out. So that's another good thing to do. Coming back to the plan, another good thing to do is to get yourself a running coach. Because if you're going to be held accountable by someone else and not yourself, actually it makes it also a little bit easier. It's kind of easier not to do something when the only person that knows that you are going to do it was yourself. But when you have someone else who knows that you're going to be running, according to some kind of a plan, a running coach, or for example, it also can be a group of people who want to start running. You can just set up a WhatsApp or any other kind of a group, a chat group. It can be 3 or 4 people, or even less, even 2 people. But you can just text each other and say, well, I went out on a run today, and then the other person is going to do the same thing. You see that other people are doing that, and that gives you more accountability. So that's another way to motivate yourself. Well, there are some other really easy to follow strategies, like maybe finding a running buddy or that one person you can run with, or maybe a running group in your area. I mean, it's quite easy to find running groups now because many running shops, do some kind of social runs, or you can just always Google and see what running groups you have in your area. All right, now, I'm out here in the rain to talk about the situations when something went wrong, like the weather, or you're not feeling good enough, and you still have to go for a run. And you're sitting there thinking, well, maybe I don't really have to push myself out into the rain, and I can actually stay home and enjoy my nice cup of hot chocolate. Well, the thing is that you can, and nothing's going to happen if you miss just one run. But then the next day, while you still haven't actually developed a habit of running consistently, it's going to be way harder to push yourself out again. You're going to say, well, I've missed it yesterday, why don't I just stay home today again? So I've developed sort of a very, very easy algorithm to follow. A couple of questions you can ask yourself whenever you planned to run, but your brain is telling you, don't go for a run, definitely, the weather is bad, or I'm not feeling good, or something like that. Well, question number 1, what's the weather like outside? If it's bad, maybe that's the reason you don't want to go out. You feel like you want to stay home, you want to be cozy, and believe it or not, with my over 10 years of running, still, when the weather is not really good or when it's raining, I don't really feel like going out there. I mean, I still have those thoughts of, well, it's so nice and enjoyable at home, but look into the app that tells you the weather and see whether there is any danger there. I mean, if there's a hazard, any warning, well, yeah, apparently you stay at home. But if it's just not nice, well, if you had to walk a dog and the weather was not nice, you'd probably still do it if it's not dangerous. And same thing applies to running. That's not a good reason to stay home and not run. I mean, just go out, just do it. And then you may think, well, maybe I'm just going to wait a couple more hours and the weather is going to change, but it usually happens that then your brain's going to trick you into, it's going to find another reason why you should still stay home. So if you plan to go out for a run at, let's say, 2 o'clock, just do it, no matter what the weather is. This will not harm you. This will only make you stronger. I mean, next time it's going to be easier for you to go out running because you're going to think, well, I did run a couple of days ago when it was raining and now the weather is great, so why don't I just go? Question number 2, how am I feeling? You might not be feeling well. Maybe you haven't slept enough. Maybe you have a sore throat. Maybe you have a runny nose, you've got some kind of a cold. Is that a good enough reason to stay home? If it's just something minor. I mean, let's say, ask yourself, can I go out with my friends when I'm feeling like this? If you think, yeah, you can. Or can I go to my work when I'm feeling like that? Yes, I can. I mean, don't push yourself too hard, but still go. I mean, another thing which you can do, let's say, have a plan to run for an hour, and it feels extremely hard to go out into that weather, or you're not really feeling well, you want to stay home. I'm just going to do it for 20 minutes. If I feel bad, I'm going to go back home. And then, trust me, when you're out there running, most probably you will want to finish the run. You're not going to feel as bad as you think you're going to feel. So that's the algorithm that I always use. When you're still developing the habit, your brain is going to be tricking you in all sorts of ways to miss a run. Because once again, as I said before, it needs extra energy to just, send that signal down that neural pathway. Now, let's talk about what you should do when you're out there on a run. So what kind of a training you should start with? Apparently, it all depends on how fit you are, on whether you have any history of doing any sport. I mean, what kind of sport you've been doing recently, or maybe nothing at all. It depends on your age, on whether you have any extra weight or not. But generally, the go-to method is keep your pace a conversational one, meaning that you can talk when you run. You can check it by trying to sing something while you're running or just talking to yourself. So you shouldn't get yourself too much out of breath. For most people who are totally new to the sport, this would be a method of combining running and walking. So let's say you take 30 minutes as a kind of a starter time for a workout. You warm up by walking briskly for 5 minutes. Then you do 5 reps of 2 minutes running, 2 minutes walking, and then you end it with a 5-minute brisk walk as a warm down. So basically, even if you do get yourself out of breath a little bit while you're running during those 2 minutes, then you have 2 minutes of walking when your heart rate's going to go down. So it's going to be easier for you. You're not going to push yourself too hard. Then you can increase those intervals of running and decrease or keep the intervals of walking the same. Let's say next time you'll do 3 minutes running, 2 minutes walking, then 4 minutes running, 1 minute walking in between. And make sure you still keep that kind of whole time of the workout to approximately 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. Once you can run for 30 minutes continuously, then, and not get yourself out of breath too much, then you can increase the overall length of your training and, let's say, develop it to an hour. Once you're there, you can think about doing some speed intervals, thinking of some other types of running training, but definitely start that. And it can take you about 2 months to get into to increase the length of your training to 60 minutes, but that's totally fine. You are a runner already. So the most important thing that if you want to keep it consistent, make sure you don't push yourself too hard. Because if you do it too hard, probably you won't be able to recover properly. And moreover, you won't want to go out there running again. So it's not about how hard you run. It's not about how fast you run. Don't chase the numbers. It's just about actually getting used to the process. When I started running, I knew nothing about that. I knew nothing about the conversational pace. I knew nothing about the run, walk, run method. I actually just bought myself a student membership to a gym. I was in my very early 20s, I think, and I saw people running on treadmills there. And at the end of my weight training workout, I thought, I'll give it a try. I went for 3K. It was extremely hard. I was out of breath. I turned red. I was sweating and, my lungs were burning, and that was just 3K. And I thought, how come people can do it for 10K and longer, and I can even do it for 3K without getting out of breath? Then I thought treadmill isn't the only solution. Why not run outside? I did come across lots of psychological kind of barriers. I thought people are gonna see me running in the street. What are they gonna think about me? But still, my kind of urge to run battled this, and I did start running in the street. And then I kept on running for 10K for a long time. I didn't want to go any further. I didn't want to increase the volume, but that's another story already. But why I'm telling you this is that I've been there. I mean, I'm an ultra runner now, but at some point in my life, it was extremely hard for me to do just a 3K in a comfortable gym with an air-conditioned gym, wearing comfortable clothes on a treadmill. And then now I can do 100K in the mountains, in really bad weather, and that's also fine for me. So if I could do it, anyone can actually do it. Recording the videos for this channel isn't very easy for me now. This is a new thing I'm doing in life. And I know why. Because I need to build new neural connections. I need to get acquainted with talking in front of the camera, with recording videos while I'm running. So that's not easy. But I know running taught me that to excel at anything, you just have to do it consistently. You just have to keep on practicing. So please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the like button, and you'll help me to build this channel. And I will help you with advice, with sharing my own experience to start running. And I strongly believe, I know that running is a really, really good way to live a fuller and healthier life. So let's go running.